what if a 20-minute cartoon episode already knows how the 2026 World Cup ends? Sounds impossible, but millions of fans aren't so sure anymore, because this isn't the first time a yellow-skinned family from Springfield seemed to peek into the future. And once you see the pattern, you can't unsee it. Somewhere between comedy and prophecy, The Simpsons has built a reputation no other show on Earth has. A reputation for getting things right before they happen.
Not once, not twice, dozens of times. And every time it happens again, the internet asks the same unsettling question. How does a cartoon keep doing this? Some call it coincidence. Writers making educated guesses dressed up as jokes. Others call it something stranger. A pattern too consistent to ignore. Before we get to football, you need to understand why people take this seriously at all. Because The Simpsons didn't just get lucky once.
In the year 2000, the show aired an episode where a character named Donald Trump became president of the United States. At the time, it was a punchline. Nobody believed it. 16 years later, it happened for real. Same name, similar chaos. An entire country stunned. Then came the smartwatches. Long before Apple unveiled its wrist-worn device, Simpsons writers had already drawn something almost identical. A watch that could do far more than tell time. Years later, technology caught up with fiction.
And then, in 1998, one throwaway gag suggested that Disney would one day swallow up 20th Century Fox. At the time, that felt absurd. The two companies were rivals. But in 2019, the deal actually happened. Disney bought Fox. The joke became a headline. Even FIFA wasn't safe from the show's uncanny timing. Long before real corruption scandals rocked football's governing body, The Simpsons mocked FIFA's shady dealings in an episode about the World Cup itself. Years later, real investigations exposed bribery, fraud, and hidden money inside the organization. Fiction, once again, seemed to arrive early. So when fans talk about Simpsons predictions, they're not exaggerating for fun.
They're pointing at a track record that keeps getting longer. But nothing ignites this obsession quite like football, because one particular episode has haunted World Cup fans for over a decade. It's called You Don't Have to Live Like a Referee. On the surface, it's just another wild Simpsons adventure. Homer becomes a World Cup referee. Chaos follows, as it always does in Springfield. But buried inside the episode is a detail that football fans still can't stop talking about. A match between Brazil and Germany. To casual viewers, that means nothing. But to football fans, it means everything. Because in real life, Brazil and Germany did meet at a World Cup. In 2014. And what happened on that field wasn't just a loss, it was a national trauma. Germany defeated Brazil 7-1 on Brazilian soil in the semifinal. The most devastating result in the tournament's history. And there, years earlier, sat an episode that had quietly placed those two nations on a collision course. Coincidence? Almost certain, but the kind of coincidence that keeps people awake at night. Then, fans noticed something else. A character in the episode bore a striking resemblance to a real Brazilian superstar. Fans immediately connected him to Neymar, one of the most recognizable footballers on the planet. Was it truly meant to depict him? Nobody can confirm that. The show never named him directly, but the resemblance was enough to send fans into a frenzy of speculation. And that wasn't even the strangest layer. Because the same episode also poked fun at FIFA's corruption, years before real-world scandals proved the writers weren't far off. Bribery, backroom deals, institutional rot, all mocked in a cartoon, all later confirmed in real investigations that shook football's most powerful organization to its core. At this point, fans stopped asking whether The Simpsons was joking. They started asking what else the show might have hidden inside that episode. And that question leads directly into the theory now spreading like wildfire. The Mexico versus Portugal theory. Let's be clear about something important. This is not a confirmed prediction. This is not something the show's creators have verified. This is feigned speculation, built from scattered clues, patterns, and wishful thinking. But once you hear it, it's hard to shake off. Some fans believe the same World Cup episode hints at a future final between Mexico and Portugal. The theory gained traction the moment FIFA confirmed something remarkable.
The 2026 World Cup will be hosted across 3 nations: the United States, Canada, and Mexico. Suddenly, Mexico wasn't just a random guess, it was a host nation with a built-in narrative advantage that tournaments love to embrace. Host nations often go further than expected. Home crowds, home advantage, home pressure funneled into motivation instead of fear. And Portugal. Portugal means one thing to modern football fans:
Cristiano Ronaldo. The question fans keep repeating is simple, yet almost impossible to answer with certainty. Could Ronaldo reach one final World Cup final, decades into his career, on the biggest stage football has ever built? Realistically, the odds are difficult. Ronaldo will be 41 years old during the tournament. No outfield player of that age has ever lifted a World Cup trophy in the modern era. His body has defied expectations for years, but time eventually humbles every athlete. Still, football has taught us not to write off legends too early. Ronaldo has broken records.
One final chance at the trophy that has always escaped him. A cartoon episode from years ago, suddenly whispered about again by millions of fans, hoping fiction becomes reality. Nobody knows if it will happen. Nobody can prove the writers intended any of this, but that hasn't stopped fans from replaying the clip, freezing frames, and searching for hidden meaning inside a joke that was never meant to be taken seriously. That's the strange power of internet mythology. Once a pattern exists, our minds refuse to let it go. We want mystery. We want signs. We want to believe that somewhere, someone already knows how the story ends. Maybe the Mexico versus Portugal theory is nothing more than another
Or maybe, just maybe, Springfield saw something the rest of us haven't figured out yet. On July 19th, 2026, the World Cup final will be played. Real players, real stakes, a real trophy lifted under real lights. Whether Mexico and Portugal walk onto that field together remains completely unknown. But if they do, the internet will erupt overnight. Screenshots will spread within minutes. Headlines will ask the same question all over again. How does this show keep doing this? Maybe it's nothing. Maybe it's everything. Maybe the Simpsons simply understands football better than any of us realized. Or maybe we'll all be sitting there on July 19th, watching 2 nations chase history, wondering if a cartoon somehow saw it coming all along.